Welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah. This is Nova, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. And where I might add, it is currently freezing. If you're living, that's a joke. If you're living up north or anywhere in a cold place, freezing to you is like actually 32 degrees, or in the case of some of my friends, 0 degrees or negative degrees. It was in the 40s on Tuesday for a little bit. It was like 47 degrees. Cannot handle it. I thought I was dying. I mean, it's perfect for knitting and crocheting weather to wear all the things, but I was bundled up like a coat, a long sleeve shirt, and like a sweatshirt underneath, wool socks, furry boots, and a hat. And I was still like, this is so cold. And of course, this one was born in Florida and is a Florida baby and was shivering so much. Are you smiling? She's got Cheerios. She was up so early this morning, so early at 5:15, because I think she's teething. I think she's getting another tooth. So we are on the Tylenol wagon and lots of snugs. And she did spend 20 minutes playing by herself, because we're all ladies here, or at least like most of us are ladies. And if we're not ladies, this isn't even a bad thing to say anyways. She found a box of tampons that I bought yesterday and spent 20 minutes taking them out of the box and putting them back in the box. And I was like, this is the most fascinated you're ever gonna be with these. I hate to break it to you. This is like the pinnacle of interest in tampons. They're just terrible after that. So yeah, this one's gonna go, whoa, you flung your pacifier, you flung it. You flung it. You want me to get it for you? Can you help me finish the intro? So if you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram and on Facebook. And we have an email address set up for this podcast specifically. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to give away, like email me at thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. I will put it on the screen. And we also have the Love Your Stash Cal going on right now until the end of March. I totally forgot to make a Ravelry thread last time because these last couple weeks have been a struggle for real. But I made it yesterday. So the thread is open. And of course you can use the hashtag Love Your Stash Cal on Instagram. There will be prizes. The only rule is that the yarn or fiber has to have entered your stash by January 1st, 2022. Can you tell them? January 1st, 2022. January 1st, 2022. January 1st, 2022. You can knit. You can crochet. You can tat. You can weave. You can spin. You can embroider. You can cross stitch. It doesn't matter. As long as it's fiber craft. And whips are totally allowed because that's part of your stash too. So join me in getting some stash done. I have been working on some stash projects. And I will show you those as soon as I put this sweet pea to bed. Can you say bye-bye? Say bye-bye to all the Nova fans. Say, I know they're really here for me. They're really here for me because I am so cute. You blow kisses? Mwah. Oh, we're not blowing kisses today. That was a one-time thing last time. Oh, you're going to give them your pacifier? I really should stop recording, but this is so cute. I can't. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm going to go night-night now. Yes. Night-night for the baby. Mwah. 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 Okay, say bye. The baby is sleeping. She went. You can't really see. If you hear white noise in the background, that's why, because her sound machine is on and her baby monitor is on. Because she's not feeling tip-top, I'm not going to turn the sound on the monitor off, because if she fusses and I can catch her before she's standing up, I may be able to put her back to sleep if she wakes up. Fingers crossed she won't wake up. And how cute was it that she was waving to y'all? Oh my gosh, I cannot. And of course, now that I don't have a small 20-pound furnace attached to my body, I am wearing a scarf because it's cold in my house. And by cold, I mean below 70 degrees. This is my frost shawl. It's a pattern that it's a big triangle. I'll just show you and then I'll put it back on. It's a big triangular design with some ribbed texture. And I made this out of Barocco Vintage DK, I believe. which is an acrylic wool blend. It's super warm. I don't get to wear it very often. I would definitely have worn it more this year already, except that when Nova's around, she yanks on anything that's around my neck, whether it be a necklace, a scarf, a cowl. I could probably get away with wearing a cowl because they're like attached, but scarves, and she loves texture. So she loves feeling things. So it's hard to wear anything like that with her around. We have things to talk about. It really has been a crazy 2 weeks for me. I say that every time, but by crazy this time, I mean, we have been on the struggle bus for real. Like the week before, the last time I podcasted, I was sick, and then Nova was sick, and then my husband was sick. So we got through all of that, and then it's just been a struggle ever since. I have not had as much time as I would like, but I have been working on some things that I will show you, which I'm pretty excited about. They're in no particular order, and I have been doing a fair amount of knitting. That's really because I finished the granny stripe cardigan, the DK version. I finished that sample. And then once I finish a big project in crochet or knitting, I like to switch and give my hands a break and just do something else for a little bit. So because I finished that pattern, I didn't finish the pattern. Don't get excited. I haven't even touched the pattern or looked at the pattern. Just the sample is finished. I have switched to knitting a bit to kind of give my hands a rest. I have some tea, and in a rare move for me, I am drinking tea with caffeine in it because the baby was up at 5:15 this morning, and I am worn out. Like, not just from her getting up this morning, just in general, I'm worn out. I have been very good. I have not had any caffeine at all this week. So I'm drinking Hardy & Sons Paris, which is one of my favorite teas, and I even stole some oat milk from the baby. Literally took it out of her bottle. No, I'm kidding. I took it out of the jug. She drinks oat milk now that she's off of formula. And I usually drink almond milk. I don't drink it, but like I'll make tea with it and cook with it and stuff. But the oat milk is like so much more delicious, but it's also much more expensive. So I don't take her milk, but I did this morning, and I made myself a cup of Paris, which is like vanilla and caramel black tea. It's so good, so good. And it's like with the oat milk, the most creamy thing. Oh. There's something about the texture of creaminess that like brings me ultimate comfort, whether it's in a beverage like a latte or a tea like this, or whether it's in like creamy pasta or creamy anything. It like makes me feel 1,000 times better. So get your favorite beverage. And if you're having some kind of morning or evening or whenever you're watching this, go make yourself your favorite beverage. It could be tea, it could be coffee, it could be a cocktail. You do you. It could be sparkling water. And then settle in because we've got some stuff to talk about. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is a pair of socks. Oh my gosh, I do have a Happy Meal that I'll have to pause and show you later that I got. This is my sock blank sock. This was a lovely gift. It is a sock blank from this company in the colorway Coral Cove, which is 75% merino, 25% nylon. This is how much of the sock blank I have left. A good fair amount. But I've started the second sock, which means I finished one sock. So I am 3 rows into the ribbing. I did the cast on and the ribbing, and I haven't touched it since. But I did finish one sock, and I even pulled out my sock blocker to show you the completed sock. So I just want to give a description of how I do my socks because I know some of y'all are really interested in that, and I don't always. I'm like, you know, this is just a sock, the end. So the way that I knit my socks, I don't knit like patterned or textured socks currently. I just knit plain vanilla socks because I like going around and around in circles. That's what's comforting to me about knitting. I don't want to have to concentrate very hard when I'm knitting. So I cast on 64 stitches with a ChiaoGoo 9-inch circular. 2.25 millimeter is the size I use. That doesn't have to be the size that you use. That's just the size that works for me. I do 15 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. If I'm doing a shorty sock like this one, I will then do 15 rounds of plain stockinette before the heel. If I'm doing a longer sock
what I will do is work 6 inches from the top of the cuff to where I start the heel. So I don't measure the amount of rows, just 6 inches. So I did 15 rounds. Then this is the Shadow Wrap Heel by Denise, who is Earth Tones Girl. Her pattern is the Socksploration Socks, but if you search Shadow Wrap Heel, this will pop up. And so it's like a short row heel. It's in stockinette, although I'm sure you could do some slip stitches or some ribbing or something if you wanted to make it. I mean, I don't know. I probably wouldn't change this heel. If you're looking for something that's more akin to a heel flap and gusset, without doing a heel flap and gusset, you can do the mini heel flap and gusset that Mina Phillips has, who's the knitting expat. And then I, for my foot, knit 5.5 inches of plain stockinette, and then I do the toe, and I take the toe from Mina's 2 at a time vanilla sock recipe, and it's a rounded toe, and that just works the best for my feet. So this is a one-of-a-kind unique sock. The second sock will not look like this because the sock blank has changed and is changing. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna pair together. They're gonna be sisters, not twins. That's, what is it, cousins, not siblings? I say sisters, not twins, but like, aren't twins sisters too? Does that even make sense as a metaphor, as a statement? Is this even the platform where I should be discussing whether that makes sense? Probably not. I'm really happy with it. I recently did kind of a clear out a little bit of my wool sock drawer, and I want to make myself some new shorty socks so that they get a refresh and I use some of the beautiful yarn that's in my stash. So this definitely entered my stash before January 1st, 2022. So this counts for the Love Your Stash Cal. Hopefully I can get this pair finished by the end of March. You'd think that's not a huge feat, but you never know with my life. So let me take this off the blocker and I'll show you the toe. Whereas a wedge toe is very much like this, straight like this. I don't like the bulk. I don't mind a wedge toe if I start from the toe up and increase in a wedge toe, that doesn't bother me, but the bulk of the decreasing stitches and the shape of a wedge toe on a top-down sock really upsets me. Like, I just don't like how it feels on my foot. So I like to do a rounded toe, which looks like this, and it fits my toes perfectly. I especially have I have kind of fat toes, especially my little pinky toe is always getting smushed by shoes. My whole foot is not wide, just the toes are fat. It's a lifelong problem. Like, I cannot wear Converse, even though I would love to wear Converse because it's very much my style. I have to wear Toms because they're more flexible for my feet. So, first world problems. My fat toes won't fit in the shoes I want. But this is part of why making your own socks and making your own clothing is so beneficial, because I can make this exactly how I want it to fit my foot. And I did. So one sock. This is how the heel looks. It's very similar to the Fish Lips Kiss heel on the first half, and on the second half, you do some extra stuff, but I find that it fits me a little bit better than the Fish Lips heel, which is nice. So yeah, sock blank. I have really been enjoying working on this sock blank. I'm interested to see how much of it will be left when I'm done, because usually I use for a pair of shorty socks with no contrast heel stuffs and coats, probably 50 grams, maybe not even, I'm not sure. We'll find out exactly how much at the end. But this is the start of the second sock. It's the dawning of the age of the second sock blank sock. That's project number 1. Project number 2 is my Muscle Burra hat. And I honestly cannot remember if I moved the stitch marker or not that showed where I was last time. So we're just gonna go over the whole hat again because I have made some progress, but is it as much as the stitch marker says? I don't know. It's living in this fabulous alpaca my bag. Alpaca butt. Every time I use this bag, it makes me laugh. It makes me happy. It's just so great. I'm holding 2 yarns double. The Muscle Burra hat is a pattern by Isolde Teague, and it is a hat that you start from, kind of like a sock almost. You start from the bottom, you knit out to your increases, then you knit a giant tube, and then you close it off. And then you stuff one side in the other, and you have a double layered hat, which is much too warm for Florida, but this is the hat for someone who lives in a cold place. The yarn I'm using, I'm holding double, is Warspatz Wool Mice, and it's 80% merino, 20% I assume nylon, but that's in a different language. And I'm holding it together with Ice Yarn's Kid Mohair, 30% mohair, 30% acrylic, 40% nylon. And this is the same ice yarn that I held for my first muscle burr hat that I paired with a purple. And so these are the two colors together. This is beautiful by itself. This together is everything, Let me just show you. Ah, it's so pretty. It's like this burgundy and has the most amazing halo of fuzz from the mohair. So this is where the stitch marker was. But like, did I do all of this in the last 2 weeks, or did I just do this much? I honestly have no idea. Maybe you remember. So I know I had all the increases done. This is what the top of the hat looks like. And then you just go around and around in circles. And I am using a 4mm Chalgu. It's red lace, but it's the interchangeable circular set, the minis. And so I think I'm on like a 12-inch circular, perhaps, total. And then at the end, I'll switch to magic loop because my wonderful friend Emmy gave me a 4mm 40-inch magic loop Chalgu cable. Oh, I'm so excited to do the decreases now because it won't be a pain in the butt. So yeah, it's just plain stockinette, but you can see this marling of the color is like, it's so tonal and so rich that I am obsessed with it. Like, truly cannot get enough of this hat. I will actually try to be working on this a little bit tonight. Today is Thursday. Tonight is Thursday also, and this morning is Thursday. Come back to the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast where we have riveting discussions on what day it is. This is about the level of conversation that I'm capable of having in my life right now. And honestly, I love you all so much, but like, I'm so glad that I'm talking to a camera and not a person face to face, because I cannot this week. Like, my words are just like, I can't do it. So I don't have a clue how many stitches I have. I could look at the pattern, but the pattern I don't have printed or anything. It's on my iPad, which is way over there. So I normally don't do that. I really like to have a printed pattern because then I can take it anywhere. And it just gives me, like, irritates me to no end when I have to scroll back to find my place in the pattern on the internet. So I love a piece of paper. It makes me happy. And also I'm a very tactile person, so I just liked paper. But tonight, the whole point of this was, today is Thursday. Because today is Thursday, there's a couple people that come over on Thursday nights after the baby goes to bed, and we watch TV. And my husband plays tennis. And so the person he plays tennis with, his wife watches TV with me. My mom comes over, and then another friend and her 2-year-old come over. And we just sit on the couch and watch TV. So currently we're watching Queer Eye, 1 episode a week until the new season is over. And we're also watching season 5 of America's Next Top Model. The drama, y'all. If you know, you know. So this requires absolutely no brain power. It's literally stockinette in the round, just knitting. I can almost do this without looking. Notice I said almost. So I'm gonna leave this out on the couch, I think, so that I have some motivation to actually work on it. And I am gonna go ahead and move the stitch marker, move it all the way up so that I know whether or not, like, there's no confusion. And you may be like, why is there 2 stitch markers on your thing? It's because what I like to do is put one the day that I record the podcast. So like this first one is going to be, I recorded the podcast today. And so everything from today on will have been done since the last podcast episode. So that helps me keep track. And the second one, I move up every time I work on it. So if I move it at the beginning of tomorrow, and then tomorrow I do 2 rows, and then Saturday I do 10 rows, like, it gives me like a little bump every time I use it of, oh, I actually am making progress on this, which I need because I get very little time. And I always feel like I'm not doing enough and I'm not accomplishing enough. So it gives me motivation. So yeah, it's a very happy project, which I shall leave on my couch. And it's happy because I'm making it for someone who is special to me. And that makes me smile too. Project number 2. Project number 3 is a crochet project, which I currently am stuck on because I need to block what I have done and reweigh and recalculate some math. I guarantee you if I didn't have to do that, I would be so much further on this because it's a very simple pattern now. It's one that I'm writing. It's called the Belong Wrap. It is living in this stuffed to the brim bag that was a lovely gift from Lisa, who is Alexandria. She is just a longtime friend and supporter of this podcast. And of course I have a button on here that says, it's crafting season. That came from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast and Crochet Luna Etsy shop. And what I have in here is the wrap. And this is it's made in Eden's yarn. So Eden is a lovely yarn dyer. She has a company called Eden's Fun Yarn. And she dyed me a rainbow. And by rainbow, I mean red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. 6 skeins of DK weight yarn to make what I have in my head, which is the Belong Wrap. And I am gonna drop all of those. Did you see that? None of that ended up on the floor. Oh, pat myself on the back. So I did a swatch in the green and I finished off with a little bit of blue just to see what color changes would look like. And I love the swatch, this is about a 20 gram swatch. It might be like 18 grams. So I weighed it, I calculated out how many stitches I could get per gram, and I did the math on how big. So I want the wrap to be 72 inches long. And then I did the math on how many stitches wide it needed to be so that I could make it 72 inches long and still have enough yarn and use almost all of the yarn from all 6 balls, including probably this green. I may unravel it back into the thing. However, I think that my math is off. I think perhaps I need to redo it with this. So this is actually the first part of the wrap. Let's see, this is the front right here. And right now, I should be about through 80 grams of yarn, maybe 75 grams of yarn. Pretty sure I've got 50 left. So I haven't weighed it, but this is a lot of yarn. This is about half, I think, maybe a little less. So I have to what I need to do is I need to soak this. I need to lay it flat to dry. Maybe I can do that today too. And then I need to recalculate and make sure that my math was correct. As I said, the last couple of weeks have been rough, so I don't trust any math that I have made. Probably what I'm going to need to do is make this wider. And I don't want to keep going and end up like, I could just keep going and use all of the red until I run out and then go to the next color. The problem with that is it's going to be longer than I want it to be. And based on my calculations, it's gonna be like way too long, like 90 more, maybe even more inches. That's too long. So it needs to be wider instead of longer, which means this is gonna have to be frogged, which is a little bit annoying. But this is a very intuitive, simple pattern. Once you get the hang of it, it is going to be a flat wrap worked in turned rows on the bias. So it's a little bit hard to see because it warps the way I hold it up, but you're gonna have sections of texture and then this lovely pattern in the middle. So, and it will all be leaning like that. There's one edge, and there's the other. So it ends up being, I'm really excited about it. I'm really enjoying working with this yarn. The tonal is so beautiful. I love the way it's showing up on camera. That's very much how it shows up in real life. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna do that for all the colors. I should have written down these color names before I stuffed the things inside here when I wound the yarn, but the color names are just beautiful, and Eden really got me in the sense of like what I was trying to do with this wrap. This wrap is about belonging, and no matter what you've been told, or no matter who has told you that you're not good enough or that you can't be who you are, that this is something that you can wear, that you can make, that will make you feel like you belong. And you do belong. You just have to find a community where you belong. And that's something that's really important to me, not just as a pastor of a little tiny church that's LGBT plus affirming, but for all people. Like this space, this podcast, I have worked really hard to make it a safe space for everyone, because that is really important to me. Like that's a core value of mine, is to have everybody feel like they belong. And you guys are so much a part of that. And this is the fruition. It's going to be the fruition of something that's really important to me. And I'm so happy that Eden was so gracious to provide yarn support for this. And now I just need to get my act together and redo some math. So I'm on the red. I've got 5 more balls to go, but probably that's gonna get frogged. So let's put this back in order. The purple is my favorite. I don't know, I'm on a purple kick lately. Like, isn't that beautiful? Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Purple. Okay, can I do the rainbow backwards? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Green, blue. Okay, I can't do it backwards. I'm gonna have to do that every time. So purple, blue, green, then, nope, then yellow. Then yellow, then orange, then red. And just gonna set this over here because I need to soak that. If the baby sleeps long enough for me to soak it, that would be truly delightful. The last project. Yes, I said the last project. The last project that has been getting most of my time is my Skyrim cardigan. This is what I picked up once, and I'm gonna take this off because I'm gonna try it on and show you. Oh, let's put this back here so you can see it in all its majesty. Oh. Ta-da! The last time I showed you this, I had just finished the 6th color and I was about to start the fade for the 6th and 7th color. So actually what I have done in the last 2 weeks is the fade portion of 12 rows between the 6th and the 7th color and 20 rows of the 7th color. So I'm almost on color 8 on the body, which means I have 25, 35, 36, 37, 40, 42 more rows on the body. Is that not crazy? This is for the Love Your Stash Cow. This is also my Mission Impossible Mal project. And this is a project that has been going, or at least been thought of since like 2018, 2019. I got a little bit of the way before Nova was born, and it's going to be the most amazing thing when it's done. And I've just had like intense work on your Skyrim cardigan mojo, so I've been using it. I probably, and by probably I mean definitely, will stall after the body is done because that second sleeve, picking up that second sleeve is gonna kill me. I know it is. But just the fact that it's something, progress is being made on something that has been a whip for over 2 years feels really amazing to me. It's living in this giant bag. It always has lived in this giant bag that my best friend Caitlin made for me. And the pattern is a Hohi Locatelli pattern. It is the long line cardigan. Hohi Locatelli is truly one of the most amazing knitwear designers on the planet. It's incredible, her designs. And I'm gonna just pull this out very gently because there's a lot of strings attached, but not as many strings as would be if I still had like fade going on. So this is a good time to try it on and show you. So the yarn for this, I have 8 skeins of Skyrim dyed yarn. And by that I mean the dyer, who is Leah of Sheep Happens Yarn. She's no longer dyeing. That's how long this has been a whip. She dyed yarn based on the colors of cities in Skyrim, the video game. And if you don't know this about me, I have spent a truly astronomical number of hours in my life playing Skyrim, and I have the main dragon in Skyrim, Alduin, tattooed on my leg, which I would show you, except I'm wearing pants and wool socks because, as I mentioned, it is freezing. So originally she sent me this yarn. It was like the most magical. She sent it to me as a birthday gift, and my mind like melted out of my ears pretty much. I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I was too afraid to use the yarn. You know how you get something really special and you're like, I'm not good enough to be able to use this yarn right now. And I had never knit a sweater of any kind. So I first knit an entire sweater in DK weight yarn for my husband called the Gramps cardigan, which is a tin can knits pattern. I have also knit a matching one for the baby, which she is now pretty much grown out of. And I don't think I want to make another one. I think I'm tired of making those. So after I successfully completed that sweater, I was like, okay, I can start the long line cardigan by Joji Locatelli. This pattern has been challenging in many ways, not just because it's a fingering weight knit sweater, but because the construction, it starts from the back of the neck, you cast on, you work one way, then you work the other way, then you pick up stitches on the bottom for the shoulder, then you connect it and you have a front, and a back that are not connected. Then you connect it underneath the arms. There's been so much YouTubing of this pattern. Joji Locatelli writes very clear patterns. I just don't know what I'm doing. So I have her pattern, I'll have YouTube for a technique that I don't know, and slowly, it has been forming. And it's just incredible. So I'm gonna read to you the colorway names that I wrote down. So the first one, I'll show you what I have left of each one. This is Solitude. This is the first one. That is the biggest city in Skyrim. Then we have Dawn Star. This one's getting a bit tangled. Then this one is attached to my sweater. We have Winterhold. It's in a baggie, so it doesn't get completely destroyed. Then we have Morthal. You can see it's getting darker. Then Windhelm. Then White Run, which is the first city that you go into in Skyrim. Then you have Riften, which is always my favorite city. It's the one with the Thieves Guild, and it's the one that I take over. And you can get married in Skyrim. You can like get your character married. And I always married the blacksmith in Riften. And then I give him, like, we get a couple of kids. And then every time I go home, there's like new treasures that he's created for me in my fake house. It's honestly the best game ever. So Riften is my favorite. And then the final and 8th skein, which I will be starting anytime now, is the darkest, and it is Falkreath. This is the one I'll probably use the least amount of because I don't think the sleeves are going to be as long as the cardigan. So I don't even know if I'm going to get these two in the sleeves because they're matching the fade. Do I have, let's see. Pretty sure I just lost my, yes, and this is my stitch counter. You can see it says 20. That means I have 20 rows done of the 7th color, and I need to get 25 rows done. And I rechecked my math frantically last week because all of this is calculations because the cardigan is not faded in the pattern. I'm doing the fade myself. And I was like, okay, I want to use equal amounts of all the yarn except for the top yarn is going to be used the most. And then I want it to like fade evenly. So I calculated out that for pretty much from skein 2 to 3 on, if I did 12 rows of fade and then 25 rows of solid in that color, and then 12 rows fade, 25 rows, I will get all the way through all 8 and it will match the dimensions that I want in the sweater, which is exactly spot on. I'm so excited about it. That's enough rambling. I should just show you the sweater. So I am attached to yarn, so this will have to be very carefully done. Here we are. Oh my God. This is the most, I'm so stinking proud of this. I feel like I'm never ever gonna take this off when it's done. So you can see right here, this is where the back of the neck starts. You can see these shoulder details. This is the first sleeve that I picked up before Nova was born, and that was quite a slog because I picked up pretty much double the amount of stitches called for. The second one has not been picked up, and honestly, I shouldn't have picked it up because there's just a ball of yarn hanging out. But this whole sleeve cap is done, and this one's going in the round now. So that's cool. This flip this gently upside down. This is where I was the last time you saw this. So I have done all of this. That is quite a lot of knitting because each of these rows takes me 15 to 20 minutes to do. Let me see if I can ever so gently put this on, since we only have 2 balls of yarn attached to it instead of 3. Whew, okay. So as you can see, it has a shawl collar. This is a little bit tight because I can just fit my arm through the cable. It's on stitches, and then of course there's a ball of yarn under here that makes it look like I have a growth under my arm. This one is not picked up at all. But it has this lovely shawl collar, and then I'm gonna stand. As you can see right now, I don't wanna pull it too hard or it'll come off the needles. Well, right as it stands right now, it is right below my butt. It is going to be about this much longer. So, about 4 inches longer. And you can see it gets darker and darker. So I think my calculations are correct in that the sleeves are only gonna get to the 7th color. They're not gonna get to the 8th color because I'm doing the fade exactly to match. And it should be really easy to do that because of the way this sleeve cap is set in. This sleeve, like, it looks like it's humongous. I prefer a little more room in the armhole, but honestly, this one, once it was picked up, fits perfectly. Because Hohi Locatelli is a genius. Let me show you the back. This is the most awkward angle of all time. So my gauge is about 10 rows per inch, and I have to be so gentle with this because if it comes off the needles, I'm going to cry my eyes out. I have about 45 more rows, so that's 4.5 more inches to do on this cardigan. And I don't, even though it's superwash merino, once I block it, it will grow, but so I'm planning on soaking it, laying it flat to dry, and then once it is bone dry, I'm gonna put it in the dryer on low heat by itself, just to kind of, because it's superwash merino, make sure it comes back together to the right size. Oh, I'm just in love with every part of it. It almost, to me, is like luminous. The dyeing is incredible. The yarn is incredible. The pattern is incredible. This is definitely a Mission Impossible project for me. And I'm so in love with it. And I can't wait to wear it. And I really would like to finish, for the Love Your Stash Cal, this whole thing won't be done for sure, but I would like to finish the body. If I could finish the body by the end of March, that would make me feel really, really amazing. And then once I finish the body, I know I'm probably gonna need a break from that. So my plan is to work on my last ray sweater, which I've only done half a swatch for. So the last ray sweater is a crochet kind of lacy open sweater pattern. And then this beautiful, beautiful pink Malabrigo yarn to knit that sweater in. It's crochet, to crochet that sweater in. I just need to do a big swatch. I've only done like an inch of a swatch, and that's not good enough. And also I think the pattern, the swatch that I've done for that pattern and the swatch that it calls for is done in single crochet. And I don't think that's gonna cut it for me based on the way I crochet and the way I have done sweaters and cardigans in the past. I'm going to need to calculate how to work out a small portion of the actual pattern design and then crochet that and block it. And honestly, this might be insane, but I was thinking about hacking that pattern and turning it into a cardigan, because right now it is a sweater. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just make it a crop top. Am I the kind of person who wears crop tops now? Let me tell you something that was great about being pregnant and having Nova. She changed my body, and I know a lot of people feel like their body is foreign to them after they have a baby, and I really did for quite a while, but she changed the shape of my body and I like it better now. Not that I didn't like it before, but she's like widened my hips a little bit, which has made my waist, it made me a little more proportional than I ever have been. And I used to never ever be able to wear high-waisted pants. It just made me look like a pear, which that's fine. Like, there's plenty of other things for me to wear. It's not a big deal. But I used to make sure always that my shirts were long enough to hit my hip bone, because that's where they needed to be to look like what I felt looked good on me. But since she has come out of my body, I can now wear high-waisted pants with like a crop top or a shirt tucked into them, and it looks great. I don't know what she did. She rearranged all my internal organs, but it's great. So I don't know, maybe I'll turn it into a crop top, but it is a bottom-up sweater, which is why I'm concerned about needing to swatch more than the designer tells me to, because I do not want to make a bottom-up sweater and do the seaming and then put it on and be like, oh, it doesn't fit. I know it's just yarn, and I say that's my mantra to you all. It's just yarn. However, I have very little yarn time, and I do not want to frog it when it's done. So I'm gonna have to very carefully swatch for that. So let me pause this video for a second and go get the Happy Mail that I need to show you. So what I got in the mail is something that I ordered. And the reason I ordered it is heartbreaking, because this company is going out of business. I literally could cry. I didn't even know they were going out of business until Claudia of Crochet Luna sent me their post. They're not going out of business in that they're closing their doors entirely, but they will no longer be making bags. They are focusing more on like screen printed fabric, and I guess it's just not sustainable for them to keep making bags. And it is Slipped Stitch Studios, which that is where this amazing sock bag that Claudia sent me years ago came from. And this bag has been all over the world with me. I bought myself another bag, so I have 2 sock bags, and it has rainbow llama corns, which is a llama with a unicorn horn. It's in my work bag, and they're my sock bags. Like, they're the most amazing bags. They're my favorite bags for socks of all time. And the fact that I will never be able to get one again, like, truly breaks my heart. And so I spent, I want to say their bags, a sock bag is like $32 usually on their website, which for the amount of use they get and how fabulous they are, I think is a wonderful price. So what I did, I start saving for my advent calendar in January, like January 1st, I start putting a few dollars here, a few dollars there. Because an advent calendar for Christmas, you normally have to order in them in like June or July, and they're like a couple $100. So I took the money that I had saved for my advent calendar this year, and I bought one of these bags because I'll never get one again. Which, like, what if something happens to my sock bag? Like, it gets a hole and I can't mend it, or like what am I gonna do? Cry forever? So I ordered one. I would have bought every single one on the website probably if I had $1 million. But I ordered one just to have a backup, just in case something happens to one of my sock bags. And because I was so sad that they're not gonna be making bags anymore. And it's this one. It's got a little seal, it's got polar bears, a whole polar bear family. This is what really got me, a little baby polar bear. So it's a sock bag, and on the inside of this one, it is white, and it has, like most of her bags, it has 2 pockets on the inside, and then this drawstring with this thing too. Like, I'm so sad. I'm so sad, you guys. This is the card. And then she sent a little stitch marker of a mitten. And that's gonna stay in this bag until if and when I use it. Because it's just truly a shame that the business with, I know it's like because of COVID and everything that they're not able to continue, and it's just such a shame. It makes me want to cry because I love their bags so much. So, not that there aren't wonderful other bag makers, I just don't know of anyone who makes a bag exactly like that, and it's the best sock bag I have ever used in my life, and probably ever will use. So, sad news, but happy mail. What I want, so that's the end of the yarny content. I do want to talk a little bit about life. I have a couple more minutes before the baby will likely be awake. I'm gonna get cozy on the couch. I am getting a little chilly again. Let's just do this. Ah, perfect. Now I can look like a grandma talking to you all. It's so delightful. And I'm going to move the camera closer. Perfect. So it has definitely been, I saw this meme online, and you know how people like do diets and fads and like New Year's resolutions in January. They're like, I'm trying this new thing in January. Okay, well, I saw a meme online that very accurately described my life so far this January, and it said, I'm doing a new thing this January where I try to survive every day of January. That is where we have been since January 1st. Struggle bus. Like, it's just been a mess. And there's been some sick, like we were sick. There's been some of our family members, like one of our family members was in the hospital, not because of COVID, something else. And there's nothing we could do about it. Like we couldn't go up there. I'm sure they wouldn't have let us in anyways, but I can't go with a baby, and just I couldn't go because of work. So it's just been a lot, and my hormones have been all over the place. And Nova's 13 months old now. She started taking steps. She's walking a little bit. She can, if she goes slow enough, she can make it across the room, walking very slowly, but she wants to go fast. So she's like, wow, and she'll get like 5 steps and just fall over because she's so fast at crawling. So that's been really exciting, but she's a year and a month old, and I just feel like it should, I understand that I'm saying should. This is the part where I'm gonna cry. Of course I'm gonna cry. I cry on every episode now. I cry all the time for all the reasons in the world. But I feel like it should be easier by now. In the sense that like, shouldn't I have more of a handle on this? And I mean, I do in some sense because she's not a newborn anymore. So it's a lot easier than it used to be. But I feel very out of control. Like I feel very overwhelmed all the time. I feel very, like there's so much noise in my head that I never have space. I never have the mental space to just be quiet. It doesn't exist. And I know, I know someone's gonna comment like, she's with me all the time, that I need to get some childcare. I would, if I could. It's not possible. So yes, that would be a great solution. But babysitters run like $15 an hour around here or more, which is crazy. Not crazy, that's probably what they're worth. But that financially is way, way beyond what we could afford. Even for like 2 4-hour shifts a week. I mean, that would be like $120 a week. That's way beyond our budget. And daycare won't do part-time. None of the daycares around me will do part-time, or if they do, they make you pay for full-time, which is even more money than a babysitter. So it's not possible for her to not be around me all the time. And trying to get any work done with her around is virtually impossible. Like, I don't know. Like the mom guilt has been really strong in the last month of I'm just not getting enough done. And I know that I need to have different expectations for myself. And maybe other people need to have different expectations of me. But like, I feel like if I were still working for the law firm, like I was 7 months ago, they would have fired me by now because I am physically incapable, like, of doing my job because the baby is on top of me all the time. And that's just the life of a working parent in a pandemic with no childcare. It's really hard. I'm doing better today than I was earlier this week. Like Tuesday, I was so exhausted and just so like at the end of all of my internal resources that when the baby went to bed around 7, I was in bed asleep at 8 p.m. which was a good thing because she was up at 5:30 the next day. And I slept all night. And I sleep 8 hours a night, but I'm tired. So I don't know, I'm just complaining, I guess. I have been listening to an audiobook when in the few moments that I have in the car when she's not crying, or when I'm in the car by myself on the way to officiate a wedding. I have been listening to this book. I'm going to show you the picture on Amazon, but I was able to get the audiobook from my local library through Hoopla, the Hoopla app. If you are in America, that may be the app, or maybe they have like Libby or something else. If you don't have a library card, you should have a library card, because they have audiobooks and ebooks that you can check out. So it's this book. It's called To Have and to Hold: Motherhood, Marriage, and the Modern Dilemma by Molly Millwood. And I heard her on a podcast episode of the Herself podcast, which is all about parenting and being a woman in modern society. And it's a very safe space, I would say. And I heard this lady speak, and where was I? I was on the way back from something that took 45 minutes. And I literally like cried for half of the podcast episode. And I was like, okay, well, I need to check out her book. So I looked on the library and they had the audiobook, because I don't have time to read, but I do have time occasionally to listen to something. So I've been listening to this. I have maybe 2 chapters left to listen. I'm going to just hold it up one more time in case you want the title. I have maybe 2 chapters left, so I'm not entirely done with it, but I have never felt so seen. It's specifically geared toward new mothers, in the sense of like a mother of a first child, or like a mother with young kids. But I think if you are a parent of any kind, it's a beneficial book to listen to or to read. If you know a mom who is a new mom, has never had a baby before, like has a newborn or has a young child and it's their first child, or if you know a mom who is struggling, get them this book, because I have cried through every chapter. Because it's like she is putting into words all of the feelings that I can't express very well, and explaining why they are the way they are. She calls motherhood, oh Lord, I can't even talk now. She calls motherhood the full catastrophe. And honestly, that's what it feels like a lot of the time. And it's not a super negative book, but I almost feel the need to like justify it, to be like, okay, well, just because she's pointing out the hard and explaining like the hard parts of parenthood, you know, we have to like feel the need to remind ourselves that like, well, there's good parts too. Of course there is. Of course there is good parts. Tuesday, I'm not even able to tell you this story without crying. I was trying to do my hip exercises, which my physical therapist has prescribed for me. And the baby would not let me do them. Like, she was yanking on my leg and like crying and fussing and pulling on my clothes and like just desperate. She was desperate. And I mean, I was right next to her, but because I wasn't holding her, she was having a meltdown. Like, I had my hand on her. I was doing everything I possibly could to let her know I was there for her, and without picking her up so I could still keep doing my exercises. She was not having it. She was just losing her mind. Which, okay, I mean, I'm her safe space, so I get it. But she was at the end of her rope, and I was at the end of my rope, and I literally just sat on the floor and cried for like 10 minutes straight. And she did the most adorable thing ever in the world. She climbed in my lap and facing me, and she was like studying my face, like really concerned. And she put her little hands on my face, and then she kept looking at me and then putting her head on my chest like this with her hands on my face. And then she would pop up and like look at me and like kind of smile and like do this. And then she'd put her head back on my chest. And she did that until I stopped crying. Isn't that the most adorable thing ever on the planet? Why am I talking about this? I got off on a tangent and now my nose is running. Oh my gosh, y'all. I think we always feel the need to be like, okay, well, everything's really hard, but you know, it's worth it. And, but you know, everything, there's really good moments too. We all know that, right? Like, I don't have to explain that there are amazing, joyful, ecstatic moments with the baby where my heart is just like exploding with love and happiness and care of her. We all know that's true. I don't have to insert that every time I'm like, this really is hard and it really sucks. So anyways, the point of this whole thing is, if you know a mom who's struggling, if you know a new mom, get them this book. Get it for them. Paper copy, audio copy, because it's the book that parents need to hear. It's a book that new moms need to hear in their souls, because I think society has given us the message that if we're not loving it, then we are A, depressed, or B, something's wrong with us. What's wrong with us that we can't keep it together? What's wrong with me that I can't keep it together 13 months after she was born? Well, the answer is there's nothing wrong with me. This is normal. And like, Molly Millwood is a PhD. She's a psychologist. She has her own private practice. And the research in this book is mind-blowing. And I think she includes it for a lot of reasons, but one of them is to show scientifically, statistically, that this is normal for moms to feel this way, that there is nothing wrong with moms for feeling this way, that almost all moms feel this way, especially when their kids are little. And like, it's a scientific statistical fact. There's no like, there's something wrong with just you because everyone else has it easier than you do. The science shows that that's not true. That everyone is having just as hard of a time as you, or at least almost everyone. The great majority of people are having the exact same experience that you are as a new mom, and feeling alone in it, which doesn't have to exist because you're not alone. Everyone's having the same experience. So that's been really good for me to hear. It doesn't fix anything, obviously, because I am just a mess right now. When I'm done with that book, there's another book I want to listen to called, I can't remember if it's called The Highly Sensitive Parent or The Deeply Sensitive Parent. I saw it on Instagram. Someone was recommending it, and it's basically for like, if you're a parent and you notice that just things that don't bother some people bother you, like really loud noises are triggering to you, or like constant stimulation, or like touch on your body is triggering to you, like overstimulating, or just like too much noise, too much touch, not enough downtime is really difficult for your nervous system to process, that this would be a really good book. So I have not read it, but I'm going to try and listen to that one too. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with all of this, except to say it has been really tough in January so far. Like, I thought December was tough, and it was. Probably every month has been tough so far in her life, but January has been truly kicking our butts. Full stop. I really, in my heart of hearts, want to just justify and be like, and there's also been all of these wonderful things, and there have, but I'm not going to say them. I just feel that I need to put out there and not justify it, January has been kicking my butt. Most days, both I and the baby have cried. Today, I wasn't crying until now when I started talking about it, but today's my day off, so she was up at 5:15 this morning, which is truly a trial and a tribulation. But she was pretty happy this morning, which is nice. So when she wakes up from this nap, we are gonna do stuff. I need to go to Target and get some like household stuff, and then we have a standing date, her and I, on Thursday that I try very, very hard not to miss, where we go, and I have $10 a week in the budget for this. We find some lunch place that is $10 or less, and we sit together and we eat. And she's so little, like she doesn't realize that this is like a special mommy Nova date, even though I say it is every week. But I want to keep doing that with her for as long as humanly possible, and just have that one special one-on-one time with her every single week where we go and we eat something. And maybe, oh my God, I'm so emotional. When she gets older and when she's verbal, like I want that to be just a really special time with us that she's already used to having, where she gets my undivided attention, and she gets to tell me whatever she wants, and we just get to be together. So I'm excited for that. And then this weekend, so my husband's flying to Texas tomorrow, which was supposed to happen a long time ago, but pandemic and then newborn baby, it just kept getting postponed. One of his dear, dear friends lives in Texas, and he's just gonna go spend 2 days with him. And he honestly deserves and needs a break more than anything in life. And because this got postponed multiple times, especially. So he's going. My mom's coming over tonight, and she's gonna stay with the baby tomorrow so I can get some work done. And then it'll be me and the baby tomorrow night. And then my mom's coming back over, I'm so thankful, on Saturday night, so that I can work on Sunday morning and go set up everything with church, because I don't have anyone to watch the baby otherwise. My husband always takes the baby Sunday mornings so that I can go do church stuff for hours. So yeah, it's gonna be a crazy weekend. It'll be fine. I don't know. I don't know how to end this other than maybe I should say, I just will beg you, if you are any kind of postpartum mom, like if you have a baby who's 5 or younger, or you know someone who is a new mom, like you're a grandparent or whatever, get them that book, To Have and to Hold by Molly Millwood. And it will make a big difference, I think, in their life. And if you're feeling overwhelmed and out of control, like me too, and apparently this is normal. Science says we all feel this way when we have a new baby, even if the baby's not so new anymore. It doesn't settle down for several years. So you're doing a great job. You're the best mama for your baby. No one else on the planet is as good a mom for their baby as you are. For that baby. Your baby needs you more than anything else in the world. And you're doing great. You don't have to be perfect. I gotta stop. Anyways, I see that the baby is kicking her leg, which means I don't have much time. So if you like this, if you like this episode, do hit the thumbs up button. And you can hit the subscribe button down below as well. That would really mean a lot to me if you subscribed. And then YouTube will let you know every 2 weeks when a new video comes on this channel. You can hit the bell icon. It'll give you a notification. Don't forget about the Love Your Stash Cow. Use anything in your stash for any fiber craft from now until March 31st. The Ravelry thread is open. The Instagram hashtag is open. And I will see you in 2 weeks, which will be officially February. And oh my gosh, it'll be like the Valentine's Day weekend. Which means discounted chocolate the day after Valentine's Day. That is a PSA. I don't care how you feel about Valentine's Day, discounted chocolate the day after Valentine's Day, totally worth it. So until I see you next time, happy crafting, be kind to yourself, and stay warm. Bye, friends.